Not everything is black or white. This is why we choose to challenge facts and opinions by going straight to the gray area. This is the Great People Podcast.
Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Great People Podcast. This is Randy. I'm here with Reina and a very, very special guest, Ashish. How are you, bro?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Of course, man. Super exciting to have you. So what we'll be talking about today is positivity, just in general, trying to stay positive through like trying times and, just all the negativity that's out there and just, see where the conversation goes. I had a few questions just to kind of get it started. And I thought maybe a good way to do it would be to kind of just go around and each of us maybe share something. I realized you guys had no time to think about this. So
It's the setup.
For real.
So the question was, if you have to think back to as far back as you want to think about, what's been the most negative time in your life? Let's start with that.
It's deep.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. Honestly, it's actually kind of currently right now, but it stemmed from a time when my mom first had her stroke. So, that's when the most I just try to find the most positive things in life.
Yeah. Okay. So no, I can see that, right? Like family, health, and all those things. Like, I'm sure all of us growing up, I know Reina kind of struggles with this too, but we see our parents, they're the superheroes, right? They're the ones that are supposed to be strong. And then as we age, they age, and then we start seeing like people say, it sounds so morbid, but like the mortality in them, right? Like we see them deal with like real issues. So that must have been tough. All right, let me see. I guess a follow-up question on that.
Okay.
What did you do to try to stay positive? Because you're probably one of the most positive dudes I know. So like, what did you have to do to try to stay positive? What was that like mentally, I guess?
Honestly, man, it was hard at first, you know what I mean? But my wife walked me through it, and like she's always been there by my side and helped me through that stuff, and like that was a big thing. Friends, family, like all that stuff. Like just having people around me and telling me like, focus on this thing, don't focus on this thing. Like it's been encouraging. It's more, I should listen to them more, basically. But it's definitely nice to have them there, and it's every time I'm down there, somebody's there for me, and that's why I like this group of friends.
For sure.
Yeah, man. Constant communication, but just don't be an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, don't just try to be nice, and that's been a hard thing for me lately because I kind of get in my own head and I start to think I don't care what people think or whatever. I'm gonna do what I do, but at the same time, like just most recently, I'm like kind of got in my own head. I upset some friends and whatnot, but they're still my friends. They're still telling me go look out and get some, like, do what you got to do, man, and like be happy again. So that's the kind of stuff that sticks in my head, right? And like I've started to find stuff like I love cooking, so I will start. I'll go in the kitchen and I'll go make something if that's the case. I'll go play video games. I'll do podcast recordings with my boy and his wife.
Yeah.
So those things, you know what I mean? Like it's really just stemming from those, and like stay positive, man. It's especially through your darkest times, like that's the stuff that takes real work. So
no, for sure. No, thanks for sharing first of all. But yeah, no, I definitely that support system, right? The family, the friends, those are definitely some of the big things. I guess let me ask Reina. What about you? Yeah.
The same question, like what was the
like let's go with hardest
so
time.
Many. I'm just kidding.
And then
I guess
what you've done too.
The one that just comes to mind would be just when I was diagnosed with the anxiety, and also just all of my other conditions. Like I have a lot of stomach problems, just to put it lightly. And I just felt like my life just changed overnight when all of that started happening and everything just came out of nowhere. So I needed to adjust and pretty much try to find ways to cope with feeling like I was too dependent on like Randy and my family and my friends to do certain things because it was all new to me. But, I feel like I've tried the gratitude journals. I've tried
Yeah.
the podcasts and all these things to try to like cope and make sure that I wake up and choose positivity over negativity, even though there's days that is harder than others, but that's what's kind of worked for me.
So you talked about like the positivity journals. Like, did that help, or was that just kind of?
I mean, if you get into the habit of doing it, I do feel like it does, you know, make an improvement in your mood and your thought process. But you know, everything is a habit. So I feel like once you just ignore it one day, it's like, whatever, I'm not gonna do this anymore. And then you get into like that dark circle of like, oh
Yeah.
crap, like overthinking everything, caring too much about what people think and stuff like that. So yeah, it works, but you have to actually like dedicate the time to it.
No, I've tried those positivity journals as well. It's like you got to try something, right?
Mhm.
Unfortunately, like for me, that wasn't the right investment for my mindset.
Mm.
So I wrote 2 pages and it just sat in my drawer. So,
You're like,
the whole reason
I wrote
I
too.
got it was because it had a picture of a panda on it. And I was like, this looks fun, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of
I guess I can go next. If I have to think back, honestly, I think this whole COVID thing has probably had like the biggest toll in like my mental state. Like, there's always been stuff going on, and I like to think that like in my life, I don't have more things happening than other people. Like everybody has stuff going on, but I guess what I didn't realize, I spend a lot of time at work. And I know you also do too, Ashish. But I feel like I spend so much time at work, and what I didn't realize was people like people that I don't even consider like really close friends or anything. Like just people in general play a big part in my life. Just seeing people like just the high fives for the random person at work, or all these things kind of build to my day to day, and it became such a routine, right? Like after 12 years of being involved, seeing people, and always kind of being in that environment. I think coming to work from home was kind of challenging for me. Like I started like slipping at work. Like there was a lot of stuff that I personally maybe could have handled better, and it just kind of piled up. And then it just felt like one of these years where like stuff after stuff was happening. It was like, okay, well, this isn't happening for me. This isn't happening for me. This isn't happening.
Hmm.
And honestly, it was looking so bright in like February and March. Like there was like new job opportunities lining up, and I was gonna move somewhere, and well, not like state wise or anything, but I was gonna move to a new
I'm like,
position,
with
and
who?
no, but all these things were like lined up, and the future was bright, and then boom, COVID, right? That other job position didn't like work out. I guess it just kind of dissipated. Like it just one day it was conversations, and then the conversation stopped, and I never heard back.
Yeah.
My teams at work started kind of struggling, and I personally felt, I know I had some of these conversations with you, Ashish. I know that like I felt like, man, like all this is going on and my team's struggling, but no one understands it at a higher level, like my bosses or whatever the case was. And then I got even in a more negative mindset. So I don't know. It was just a lot. So that's probably the most negative. What
It's
I
like a
try to,
snowball effect.
I know, right?
Mhm.
It was like one thing after another. But I think the same, man. Like friends, like I know, again, me and you, Ashish, we have multiple conversations, and they went
Hmm.
like a very long way. I'm like, damn, like I feel just almost just getting it out. Even if it didn't quite have a solution, just like the venting side of it helped a lot. Of course, then like switching the mindset in general, like it is a blessing to be here. With Reina and just everybody all the time in a way, right? Um, People were getting sick. We've gone the whole year plus without, well, it hasn't been a full year yet, but about a year without getting
Yeah,
COVID.
knock on
And
wood somewhere. Do we
exactly,
have wood?
like, but just going through all these, like, seeing everything happening out there kind of helped switch it for me. I was like, man, I'm really blessed. Like, there's people getting sick. There's people that have to go to a place physically to work. I don't have to expose myself like that.
People that don't have jobs.
Exactly. My checks never stopped. And I make banks. I'm talking about. I'm just kidding.
What?
No.
I'm like, news to me.
No. But
We're just like learning a lot.
I know. Is this a goodbye?
Yeah. No, but those things kind of really helped out a lot, which actually makes me think.
Now, my folks at the Gray People Podcast, they got it on lock for all the things in the gray area. But if you're looking for more content, maybe something a little bit different, head on over to allrock.com. That's ALLRAWK.com. We have podcasts, YouTube videos, and so much more. Come over. We'd love to have you. Again, that's allrock.com. Now back to the Gray People Podcast.
I wonder how much of the stuff happening out there, like around us, impacts our own positivity, right? We see people out doing things. We see people buying bigger houses and doing all these nice things. And I wonder how much of that impacts us. Like, I kind of thought about it a little bit. I think part of why COVID-19 was so depressing was because there seemed to be a whole group of people that still had a ton of fun and their life never changed,
Doesn't faze them.
Exactly. Like, I personally have seen in my own timeline people like parties and this, and I'm like, dude, like I'm over here doing this. So I don't know.
The last party was our birthday party.
for sure. Do you guys feel like that's a big part of it? Like what you actually see?
Yeah, and I mean, and this is definitely outside the whole PlayStation 5 thing that I see people purchasing that I can't even get one right now. But besides that, but back to like the house thing, yeah, like even recently I was telling Jess, like, man, I really would like us to just get like fix our spot up real quick, like, change a couple things, get the yard done, put it up for sale, and get one of these nice new houses back here. Because you're right, like I see that stuff online, and I'm just like, dang, I kind of want a nicer house, and yeah, really nice houses right here in Tooele, and it's just like, yeah, I want that to like for a better future for when we have kids and whatnot. But that was more of a plan down the road 5-6 years from now. But now that I see people doing it, I'm like, I want to go out and buy one tomorrow, but I can't.
No, and for sure, and that's the thing. It's like our house, kind of similar situation. Like me and Reina look at the bathroom, and we're like, okay, it's a functional bathroom, right?
Gets the job done.
Yeah, it gets a shower. But then you start thinking, I'm like, man, like it'd be really cool to have like a like one of these faucets and like these big mirrors and like the little rain shower and the all these little things. And then you start thinking, I'm like, man, maybe we should just get a whole new house.
It starts with a faucet and turns into a brand new house.
I know. We're like, maybe a new bathroom and a new kitchen. And then it's like, you know what? Maybe like a different yard. Maybe we shouldn't have carpet. Maybe it should be like hardwood floors. And then it's like, maybe we should just get a whole new house.
I just think people are just never satisfied, or content, I guess. We're always looking for like the next best thing. It's just human nature. But we also need to understand that we're all in like different stages of our life. We can't really compare ourselves to what we see on social media or even like our own friends. Like, we might want to renovate this house, but we have friends obviously that still haven't purchased a house. So it's just, it's different.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. Like I can't remember what book I read this in, but it might have been one of those TED Talks. Anyways, we like to think that our lives are so like set, like this is what we've achieved in life, and it's like, if we really think about it, since maybe we were at the age of 18 is when we really maybe started working like consistently or whatever, not living at your mom's house, all that good stuff, for most of us at least. And then, from there till now, it's been, I don't know, let's say 20 years, 15 years, and we've achieved all this already. And really, for good or bad, by the time we're going to retire and hopefully we live a full life, it's another 40, 50 years, and like, think how much, if this is what we achieved in like 15, look at what we like, just the thought of what we can achieve in another 40, 50 years. So, it is interesting seeing people get things and then you get in that mentality. But I wonder how much like in you ever watch Black Mirror? You ever seen that show?
Oh yeah, dude, I love that show.
In a kind of vibe like that, where it's like, I wonder if we had no social media and we just lived in this, like, kind of like when we were growing up, right? Where you actually had to go to people's houses to see things, and you actually had to like interact with people to actually get to know what they're dealing with, or what they have, and all these things. I wonder if we would be happier, you know? I don't know.
I mean,
Technology.
there's tons of studies out there talking about how social media like affects our mentality and our happiness. And like one of the things that I did, and I just remember it felt so good. It was I just turned off my Facebook, right? Undisclosed. Have a Facebook profile right now, strictly for the purpose of the Oculus, because it requires you to have a
Oh
Facebook.
yeah.
So if you happen to find me, which no one will, because I'm that secretive, just know this is my disclaimer. There is one
Randy's
out
like,
there.
challenge accepted.
I'm like, that's what I'm going to school for, to be able to track these things down. I'm gonna find you.
But
I'm like, there's a program called Maltego, and I'll find you. I'm just kidding.
I challenge you. I challenge you to find me. But man,
No.
like the one thing I did after okay, let me back up. The reason I got off Facebook, right, was because it came to very political in a sense.
Yeah.
Like instead of it being like a fun platform for me to communicate with my cousins, or like my sister's picture, or like, you know, like a video or post something nice, you could post an apple and it would turn into some type of political agenda. And I'm just like, okay, well, I just wanted to show the beauty of this apple and how fresh it looks. I believe it's a Granny Smith. Well, let's talk about Granny Smith for a second. And what are we gonna do about social income for the older retired generation? Like, oh my god,
what are we gonna do about these grannies that have no income?
Exactly. And I was just like, it just got so like, that was a depressing thing for me. I'm just like, no one has anything else to talk about. So I erased social media. Well, not Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And Instagram to me was just like, people post pictures, no political views, whatever.
Or I think it's almost easier to ignore, like I think on IG, you can just like see the picture, move on. Like you don't have to click on the comments and see them, but Facebook kind of just displays them. And one thing I hate lately is they notify you when people post shit. I'm like, oh, I don't want to hear that somebody, like, I don't care. I'll see it if I see it,
See what so-and-so said about the election. I just don't really give a shit.
Exactly. And that's the crazy thing, man. Like, it really has become such a polarized world. Like, everything's a problem. Everything. And I'm not going to lie, I do enjoy my little...
I was going to say, you like to engage in those conversations, Randy.
Sometimes I feel like, I got to let these motherfuckers hear a little bit of the truth,
When I see that smirk on his face in the middle of the night, I know what's happening.
Like, I'll just be like this, like posting, and Reina can see me smile because I'm like, I'm dropping bombs on these motherfuckers, And it's just like, no, but I don't know, it's interesting for sure. And I almost like, I did the same. Like, there was, I think we all go through like little stages like that. Like, I saw the Social Dilemma on Netflix, and it made me kind of like consider a lot of things that I wasn't thinking about, like how I consume social media and all these things. And I turned off most of it for a while, like Facebook, IG, like I deleted all the apps. Like, I didn't go as drastic as like the long post and everybody, if you don't see me for a month, I decided to,
That doesn't make sense. Why are you announcing your insecurities?
I didn't announce my retirement from the social medias, I just kind of I deleted.
I'm sorry, all I think about now is like the part where it's like going through my friends list, deleting people. If you're still here, congratulations. Like, well, who gives a shit? I'm not gonna fucking vote.
For real. No, so like, but I just deleted the apps and stuff. And honestly, it was kind of nice to just come back almost like on my own terms. And I unfollowed a lot of people that really weren't bringing any value to my life. I like on Facebook, I just silenced a lot of people. I didn't want to see their political stuff and all these things, because it did get kind of nasty there for a minute. And yeah, and it's just for me, like Reina said, maybe like triggering, just like some people say some things and I'm like, wow, like that really is what you think, like,
Whoa, hold up. would you guys just chill for a second? Let me get this commercial in. What's up, everybody? My name is Will Wonder, and I started a podcast at the end of 2020. On the Will Wonder Pod, I discuss sports, music, and a myriad of other timely topics with guests weekly, as well as in-depth interviews once a month with interesting people who are doing some pretty incredible things. So if that sounds good to you, check out the Will Wonder Pod wherever you get your podcasts. Now back to Randy, Raina, and Sean.
But yeah, those are definitely things. I wonder, in the flip side of things, like, we talked about deleting Facebook and maybe not having a Facebook account and some of those things that help us be a little more happy. What are some of the tiny, like the most like little things that make you happy in life? What are some of those, like, man, when I'm feeling maybe not super down, but these little things just make me like bring me joy.
The
I'll
stuff
say-
in my office.
I was gonna say BTS, but just kidding.
That is part of it.
I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's hard because I feel like you don't really think about those things, like, unless you're asked. I'm like, what are the small things that bring me joy?
Yeah.
I'm like,
exactly.
seeing my bank account go up a little bit,
He's
my
like,
debt go down a little bit.
he's like, you now have $22.40. Yay!
Oh, I can think of when I cook and Randy finally says that it's good. I feel like that brings me joy because he will just say it's okay for everything. It could be his favorite meal. And it's okay. I'm like, wow.
Because the thing is, like, Raina asked me, and I think she's expecting some like, wow,
Well,
this is
yeah.
like the best rice I've tasted in my life. I'm like, no, it's
Just
good
start
rice.
cooking for yourself and we'll see.
Hey, don't worry, Rada. I get the same thing from Jess. Like, I'll present this fantastic meal, like asparagus, potatoes, steak,
Nice steak.
and like a master chef. Even though I'm no Gordon Ramsay, but in my head I am. I'm like, you bloody donkey, get the pairing right. And I present it to her. She's like, it's good, but the mashed potatoes could have been. She's like, damn.
That's literally Randy, the food critic over here. He's like the pickiest person ever.
I am.
I like to hit her up with, what's the star of the dish, though? It's the steak. How was the steak? It's really good. That's all I need.
It's all, he's like,
I'll get you some KFC mashed potatoes.
I'm like, the rest of the stuff was just so the plate wasn't just steak. Like, that looks a little off. Well, you can see,
everything
like,
else is garbage.
the reason I ask, like, there's people like at work and, some friends I know that sometimes, we'll be having conversations and they'll talk to me about like having hard times and some of those things. And Reina was like confirm this because I'm such a like positive guy and almost like I live my life almost like stress free. Like, I really try to go with the mentality of like, if I can do something about it, I don't worry about it. And if I can't do anything about it, then I don't worry about it either,
Yeah, but I feel like that creates a disconnect with you and other people because for you, it's easy to just tell somebody, well, why do you care? Like, don't care about them. It's like, well, if it were that easy to not care, then I would be doing that.
Yeah, and that's like for me, I think that's where, like, when I think of little things, I almost think like I oversimplify it sometimes. And I'll be talking to someone, I'm like, why don't you just like, log off work or whatever and just watch some Netflix shows and you'll be good in an hour, because or like you like doing this, like you like video games, why don't you play video games for a little bit? And I promise you'll make you feel better. And I feel like sometimes it's like well accepted. Like people say like, you know what, yes, I'm gonna try some of that. But then I think sometimes it might be a little, like Reina says, a little disconnect where I'm like, you know what, maybe I'm oversimplifying because for me that works. Like the little things make all the difference in the world. Like if I'm feeling any sort of way, I'll just go on a little drive, put on some music, and I come back refreshed, or I'll get on my PlayStation for a minute. And I don't have the PS5 yet. My brother does, but not me. Anyways.
You get on Animal Crossing.
Yeah, like, no, sure. No, but like I'll get on, like I'll turn on Netflix and watch an hour of and sometimes shows I've seen a million times, like La Casa de Papel, and I just watch these shows and I'm like, I forget about everything and I get involved in the show and my mind just gets off of the negativity and then, so I don't know. That's why I asked, like, what are those tiny little things that you feel can?
It's because you're a glass half full,
Half full.
while I'm the glass half empty. Because I think my initial thought is negativity for everything. The worst. I just go to the worst possible like situation for everything. And then Randy's just always there trying to talk me out of it.
Yeah, like in my head, it's like we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Well, what if this? What if that? I'm like, yeah, like we'll see. you know. But yeah,
I'm a little bit of both of you in that sense. Like, definitely got the whole, what about this? What about this? And like, what if this happens and that happens? And Jess is like, let's cross the bridge when we get there. And then like, it may be like 70% me, 30% her, and then vice like when it switches, it's 30% her, 70% me. Like I'm supporting her 30% of the time. But yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it's again like it's like a rabbit hole, right? You kind of sit down, you get lost in your head. Like for me, to your point, Randy, I do binge watch other Netflix shows. Like I just got done with Narcos, and like I'm probably gonna start the one with Kiki Camarena.
Did you? Is that the Narcos Mexico or whatever?
I think so, yeah. But I just do that one because I like the background noise when I'm doing stuff, and two, like it helps me kind of get in my headspace a little bit and just kind of figure out like what do I need to like chill out on. Yeah, like
yeah, nothing makes you happier than seeing people getting shot over coke. No, it's a good show for sure.
I mean, I did that with The Office, and then they took it off of Netflix. So I was like, all
right. Well. Let me ask you, and we'll get back to the other stuff. But are you getting Peacock? Like, I just feel like they're taking a lot of shows over there, and I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm bought into this whole like. I don't want another membership.
No, because the only thing I watched that NBC had was The Office, and then lo and behold, Jess got it for me. Just happened like
solutions.
Like, only yeah, she bought it for me. She got it on Amazon the day it was New Year's Eve. The only problem is now I need like a place to watch it, and I got this empty wall over here, which is very deserving of a nice TV, like a multi-disc DVD changer.
I agree.
So, like that's honestly what I'm waiting for. But also, I've gotten so spoiled on Netflix, I just don't want to take the disc out, put it in, and it's regular DVD. It's not even Blu-ray, so it's got like 4 episodes on a disc. So I gotta take it out after 2 hours, put another disc in. I'm like, dang,
that's so true.
Steps in.
Let me ask. That kind of points me another direction. What is some of the like? People say materialistic things don't matter, but maybe they do. I want to know, like, in the big picture, what are some of the big things that maybe you think you could or are hoping to someday get that you think is going to bring you, like, a lot of happiness?
Just one thing?
Or a few. I mean.
Oh, no, I'll start big of something that, I mean, it's achievable, but it's a long run. One of those big yachts that has a helicopter landing pad and a mini yacht inside it, and then I just pull my car in and just take off, like a multi-vehicle boat. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I'm not kidding. Like if I was offered an opportunity to have that, I would totally take it. So, not kidding, I would take it. But something big, I just bought a truck, which I've always wanted a truck, and I love my truck. It's great.
It's amazing.
I don't know. Wow, now that I got that truck, I don't know. All I keep thinking is like a nicer house.
Nice.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like
for me, it's like a shitload of money. Like just like
okay, that's not a thing though.
What do you mean? A bag like a stack? That's a thing.
It's what you can get with it.
Well, because here's the thing. Like I'm one of the mentality of like I have very little sympathy for like rich people. Like when I see like all these like celebrities and stuff going through like divorce and going through whatever, like automatically I think they'll be fine.
Wow.
like they got a shitload of money, they'll be fine. Like I think of like I talked about the little things, like I put on PlayStation and I can get happier, like my mind can shift, or I could watch Netflix. I'm like, imagine what I could do with a private jet and all the money in the world. Like if I get sad and my favorite spot in Earth is in Italy, I'll just pick up my private jet and go to Italy and I'll be happy. And, and just those things. So at a big scale, I think like a lot of money, I don't know, make me really happy. Or maybe not. We'll see. The goal is to get it and then we'll see what happens.
Speaking of celebrities, just real quick, I saw this thing today and I had to like go and fact check it. And I'm guessing this is an accurate thing, but now that Kim Kardashian is divorcing Kanye West, there's bets in Vegas talking about who she's dating next, and
Oh
people
my
are
god.
placing money on it. I was like, damn, all right.
Did it show like who the candidates were or whatever the options?
Yeah. Hold on, I got you.
My part,
I just
another
thought it
rapper.
was funny.
It'll be like the dumbest stuff, like Lil Yachty.
Ew.
So some of these people, oh my god, this list is way bigger than I thought. Okay, so it says Kim Kardashian's next partner odds following Kanye West split. Van Jones plus 500. Like I don't even know who that is. Klay Thompson, I don't know who that is. Plus
Okay.
650. Paul George, Drake, James Harden, Lamar Jackson. Mostly basketball players, one rapper, and a football player.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna like hate on that list in the sense of like it makes sense to me. You know, some athletes slash rappers or both or whatever, you know, like that makes sense.
I've never been invested in Kim Kardashian's life until now. I realize if I place a bet just by studying her past, I could possibly win. So here we go. Gonna make you rich.
Yeah,
You're gonna
no,
get
like
your stack of money. I'm gonna get that boat.
nice.
Marina, what do you want?
I just want a nice kitchen.
Nice kitchen it is.
I don't ask for much.
Yeah. No, like it's just those things for me. Like I really like sometimes Reina will tell me stuff and I think she gets mad because my initial response is like, so what? Like people get cheated on all the time. You know, they got money, they'll be okay. Like that's my or like, yeah, oh they're getting a divorce? That's kinda crazy.
There's still people too.
Sure, with a lot of money and a lot of different options that we don't have.
Right?
So like if I get sad, I gotta be sad
And broke.
and broke, exactly. Like I don't get to just like, you know what, I'm gonna fly to France real quick. No, like I gotta be
Right.
sad here. So I don't know. That's why in my head it just
Our option is to go downstairs and play the PlayStation.
yeah, if like hopefully you got enough to pay your PlayStation Plus membership. If not, you're gonna be playing story mode for a while, you know.
Be like, ooh, I got this GameStop gift card I forgot about. Yes, do this.
No, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. I think it's like obviously like this touches in a lot of different topics. Like we talked before about like the law of attraction, and there's a lot of that goes into play. Like what you put out there is what you attract, and when you get negative, more negativity comes. So I don't know. Hopefully, if this episode has done anything for anybody, is get them thinking about what those little things are in life that make you happy, so that when you start kind of slipping and going into the negative, you can bring yourself back a little bit. Or think about the big things. I think those are also good to have those goals that you know at one point might realize, and then bam, you'll probably be as happy as you ever be. So
I think that's one of the biggest things. Like before that whole thing happened with my mom, I did have goals set. Like I was going to the gym every day. I was eating healthy, doing the right thing, and like that felt nice. That was a very happy moment in my life, you know. And even then, like after that happened, like I started getting my stuff together, started setting goals, and another setback, and then just get on the right path, another setback, and it's all how do you overcome those setbacks, right? Like you be going 100 miles per hour and you're just happy as heck, and all of a sudden it's like Wiley Coyote hitting that wall, road runner.
yeah.
So luckily, my wife has been great at helping me get back up there. So when she listens to this, I'll just say thanks, babe.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, thanks. Of course, everyone that's out there supporting their peeps. And if you're somebody that could support somebody, then you know, make sure you're always there when they need you. But
I mean, rich or not rich.
yeah, with money or
Since
with
Randy thinks rich people don't have feelings.
no, they have feelings. They have more options to deal with them. Anyways, but yeah, hey, it's been a great episode. Really enjoy it. Thanks to Sheesh for joining us. This has definitely been one of the funner conversations we've had.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'm very blessed to be on here, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love it, man. We love having you. And we'll have you again. We have some other topics I know we discussed that will be cool to have you back for. So, yeah, for everybody listening, thanks again for tuning into the Great People Podcast. Leave us a comment, leave us a rating if you're listening somewhere where you can give us a review. Follow us on Twitter, Great PPL Podcast, on Instagram, Great People Podcast. Everywhere else is Great People Podcast. And yeah, we look forward to having you guys tune in next.
Cut.